What's up everybody, welcome to Airsoft After Hours. In this video I'm going to be talking about the Tokyo Marui M870 Tactical. I will be highlighting any upgrades I did to this gun, or the problems I encountered during the upgrades, and any fixes I did to overcome these problems. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the video. Right, I'm going to start with the externals of the gun, the front portion here. As you can see, I've shortened the barrel, or I have purchased a shorter barrel. Now, a lot of people, when they decide to get a shorter barrel, what they would do is cut down the original barrel, which is probably the best thing to do, and it's the most... I don't know, the quickest way of getting the shorter barrel. Also, you can choose what length you cut it to. I personally purchased a shorter barrel. This one is made by SAT, a company called SAT, which is Soldat, Airsoft, Taiwan. The build material, I'm told, is better than the original barrel, but obviously I don't know because there's no way for me to test that. I'll just have to take their word for it. And it comes with engravings as well on the side. Remington Arms Company, New York. But I guess you know, there's the benefits over cutting down your original Tokyo Marui barrel is not a lot, apart from it becomes coated and it's machined slightly differently, but you don't really gain any benefits other than the engraving. So if I was to do this again, I'd probably say just cut down your original barrel and either have it recoated on the front or paint it black. Okay. No modifications had to be done to the barrel. It just went straight on and fit perfectly. Although the spacer here, which basically clamps to the fore-end tube, and has a spacer which sort of plugs into there and screws in. That was really tight. I had to really force that in. What I did do was Dremel out just a little bit of the step that they had. I drilled a bit of a shallow edge into that just so that it could fit in slightly easier, but pretty much it was just a straight fit aside from that. Also, the internal barrel holder, as you can see here, has these kind of spacers, one on the top and two on the sides. I just had to file those down ever so slightly because there was a bit tight in the new barrel. Okay, moving on. Right, as you can see here, the shell, well, the cover door is usually black. Mine is silver. Mine actually got a lot of, gained a lot of scratches on it. The paint started wearing off from use, so I decided just to strip all the paint off and make it silver, just to make it look slightly better. Okay, it's not really a modification, more of a touch-up. And also I've added a cheap replica Aimpoint T1 from China. This is very cheap, but it seems to hold zero pretty well on most of my other gas blowback rifles, so I'm using it on this one. It doesn't have any recoil, so it should be fine. It has 11 brightnesses, and it can be seen in bright daylight, and also is on its lowest setting very good at for night use as well, so I'm just using that on this build. Also, as you can see here, moving towards the stock, my stock actually got a few scratches. It was really scratched from use, so what I did was lightly sand it down, and that gave it kind of this unique finish, you know, sort of a half shiny, half matte kind of finish. Also, I stippled the patterning here, just did some basic stippling, not following any type of pattern, but just try to give it a bit more grip and make it slightly more unique from the regular ones where they just have that checkering. The checkering was very nice, but I thought just adding some stippling might have given it a bit of a unique touch, so I did that. Okay. On the left-hand side of the gun, I've installed a Laylax side plate shell holder. They come with 6 of these shell holder plastic pieces, which can be mounted in the upright orientation or the kind of diagonal orientation, as I have done here. If you mount them upright, you can hold 6 shells, and if you do it in the configuration I have here, you can hold 4 shells. I normally just have, they normally just slot in like that. I normally have 3 shells, and also I sometimes mount my flashlight, which fits nicely in there, just kind of clamped in like that. I do just push it in and pull it out whenever I need it. If these ever break, I'll leave a comment in the description or the comment section just to tell you guys, oh, the plastic part has snapped from my abuse. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. These are really, really flexible and incredibly durable. Okay. Also, this shell holder actually comes with the retention pins. Okay, so normally the gun has two retention pins by Tokyo Marui, one that goes there, one that goes there. The front one is actually smaller, the rear one is thicker. This side plate shell holder actually comes with two of them, and they actually bolt in the side there, so they will not come out. They won't vibrate out or slip out anymore because they're actually fully secured in, which was I was very happy about. Okay, so that's basically the externals covered. This is how I run this gun. Obviously, I only do a bit of plinking and shooting targets every now and again, and I really like this configuration I have set up right now. But one of the things I have also purchased is this, it's called a Nitro VO top rail made by Lalax. I purchased this also and mounted it, and I'm very happy at what it does. It adds a lot of extra rail space, so you have so many more options of mounting different things in different configurations, and it just opens up a whole world of you know, modifications and your ability to mount stuff. So I'm very happy about that. I don't really I mounted it and I was quite happy with it, but I preferred the look without the rail, so I took it off. But I will mount it on there and discuss it with you guys, just to show you you know, what it can do and what it offers you, and is it worth it and everything, and what the build quality is like. It has this this fake heat shield, which is very nice looking. You know, when you mount it on there, it does look very mean and make it look very modular. So I'll install that now and let you guys see what it looks like. Right, so the rail is installed, and as you can see, it's opened up this whole new section with a rail, giving you the option to mount I don't know, optics or accessories as you like, and it also looks pretty mean in my opinion as well. Just to give you an idea, I've got a Surefire flashlight here, which I'm gonna just put on there. Let's say if you're running a flashlight there, I find it's a pretty good way of mounting a flashlight, because on the other side, when your hand is over the pump, you do have access with your thumb to the momentary switch, which is just these two switches on the back. Also, after that, you can mount your chosen optics or aiming device behind it. I don't know, maybe a tall iron sight on the front and a non-foldable iron sight on the rear, and that gives you the option to aim while you're all holding all your accessories on the rail as well. Or if you prefer to have a red dot sight low, you could probably I don't know, mount a offset rail mount on the side, which basically would be able to allow you to mount your flashlight on this side here or on this side here, depending on how you like to run it. Obviously, I don't have the accessories I'm happy with to mount on there, and I like to keep the build pretty basic, so I'm probably just going to take the rail off for now until I don't know, find some accessories that I think look good on it, and then I'll purchase them and then put them on and see how I feel. But right now I'm probably going to run it without, because in my opinion it looks pretty nice basic. Oh, also the rail does add, in my opinion, obviously, the rail does add rigidity to the actual build. Obviously, the rail is clamped in by 3 screws, one here, and one here. But also, this front section here is actually clamped on, if I just show you, it's actually has this section here which goes around the barrel. It's a big chunk of metal, and it doesn't clamp to it, but it's held in place and fitting pretty snugly. And it has this section here which kind of is screwed on by the tube screw here, and is all held together in place. So other than your barrel and the tube there, all held in place by the original parts, you've also now got this rail that goes over everything, and adds rigidity to the build, in my opinion. So if you like the the look of how this looks now, I highly suggest you get the Laylax VO rail. It's very nice, and the build quality is fantastic as well. And the finish on the actual rail is pretty immaculate. It's very even and very nicely coloured. Okay. Before I move on to the internals of the gun, I'd just like to quickly show you the shot shells. The gun comes with, when you first purchase the gun, it comes with one shot shell in white, but they are available in either green or red. Okay, right, but the each shell holds 30 BBs, and they basically just go in the top there. You, if you have a speed loader, you just put it in and just plunge away until it's full, and it should hold 30 BBs. Okay, and normally they feed very well and feed every single BB. Yes, mine do feed every single BB all the time. Okay, right, moving on to the internals of the gun now. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the internal modifications I did to the gun, including all the parts I changed, and if there was any work I needed to do, I'm going to be talking about those that as well. Okay, so the first parts I'd like to talk about are this part here, and this part here. Okay, this first part, this is the original Tokyo Marui part, is the hammer, and what this does is this rides along this part here, which is, I think it's called part number 51, if I'm correct. What it does is it sort of goes back like that, pushing against the spring. You take the shot, it gets released, and it slams forward, and what it slams into is this valve pin here. Okay, so I upgraded this to the Wii Tech hardened steel hammer. Nice packaging there. And what that did was basically made this part hardened steel. So obviously it would take a bit more of a bashing and be able to last longer in theory. Obviously just upgrading that part would wear these parts even quicker, since these are the original Tokyo Marui ones made by a softer material or a less hard wearing material. So I upgraded part number 51 to the Wii Tech hardened steel part. And also I bought this stainless steel valve pin by Wii Tech as well. Okay, those three parts basically work together in conjunction with each other, and in my opinion it would be best to upgrade these together, since they're all going to be kind of interacting with each other. Do bear in mind that as Wii Tech says, please use original Tokyo Marui M870 O-ring at the top of valve pin. Okay, which is what I did. I removed the O-ring off this valve pin, which is the Tokyo Marui one, and installed it on the Wii Tech one. None of these parts, none of the Wii Tech versions of these parts needed modification. They just fit in straight away and worked perfectly, just as the originals, but made of a better material. Okay, moving on to the next parts of the internals that I changed is these three parts here. Okay, this first part is this is the original Tokyo Marui one. It's a loading nozzle. Okay, where's the packaging to it? Now the Wii Tech version that I got is made from aluminum. They do actually two sets of these, two different sets. One of them, which is designed for 134A gas, they name it the Power Up Loading Nozzle set, made of aluminum, and that basically works, they say it works best with 134A gas. They do the same version, but in a set that comes with stiffer springs, stiffer internal springs, and some other springs as well. And they market that one as their top gas version. So you can guess, I'm guessing you can use propane or green gas and it'd be slightly more efficient or something. I'm not too sure. But I went for the 134A gas, since I used duster gas in my shotgun. Okay, obviously this part, when it's in the gun, how does the orientation go? That way. When it's inside the gun, this part slots into this part here, which is the, where's the packaging? The hop-up chamber, if I'm correct. Yep, this is the hop-up chamber. I purchased a Wii Tech one, so I bought the Wii Tech loading nozzle and the Wii Tech hop-up housing. Also made of aluminum. Okay, so bearing in mind, if you upgrading either one of these parts, you'd probably want to upgrade these two together, since this one does slot into it. Now, the original Tokyo Marui loading nozzle actually has a pin in the center, in between those three air nozzles, and that pin is actually made of steel. Okay, it's made of steel because the original loading arm, I think it's in this orientation, goes up and hits into it like that, basically. Okay, so what it does is it protects all the top nozzle, I guess, from that. Okay, and it kind of acts as a break-in point for that loading arm. And in the original Tokyo Marui hop-up chamber, there's actually a hole in the center. I'm not sure if it's going to pick that up on camera, but there's a hole in the center there, and what that does is that's the hole to allow for the steel pin to go into. Now, on the Wii Tech hop-up chamber, there isn't a hole there. Okay, so if you upgrade this, you cannot use the original Tokyo Marui one with the pin. But if you upgrade this to the Wii Tech version, you can use the original Tokyo Marui hop-up chamber, or this hop-up section. Okay, but I don't recommend it. I recommend, if you're gonna change this to a I don't know, an aluminum one, it would probably be best to upgrade this to an aluminum one as well. I went for Wii Tech in both parts of these. Now, for the actual loading arm, I actually went for SAT, Soldat Airsoft Taiwan. They offer this in steel, and that's the what I upgraded to. This one you're looking at here is the original Tokyo Marui one, obviously because I've installed the steel one in the actual gun. But the SAT actually made two versions of this. This is the newer version. If you look at the packaging, it actually says the steel loading plate, and it's the new version. Now, the old version is almost exactly the same, except it doesn't have this groove here. You see, that's kind of, there's like a groove there. On the old version, it didn't have that. Now, I don't know if they actually released those to the public, but I actually purchased this not knowing which one I would get, and the new version came, so I'm quite happy about that. Okay, right. Okay, moving on to the next modifications that I did. This part here, the reason I upgraded this part is because I've been reading online and some forums and some videos, and people say this is a high stress point. It's actually a part that breaks. Normally it's the top nozzle there. Out of the three, it's the top one that probably snaps. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe the steel pin there breaks off and the loading arm keeps knocking into it, or maybe it's an area where it hits the top of the chamber more. I just don't know. Okay, but I upgraded mine just in case. Okay, right. The next upgrades I purchased was these steel slide locks. These are by SAT, I believe, yes, by SAT, and I'm not sure if these are high loading, and if they take a high load and if they take a heavy beating, but they offered them in steel. So while I was at their shop, while I was at their online shop, I actually purchased some of these as well. Okay, right, moving on to so far everything that I've mentioned was just a direct fit. No modifications had to be done to any of those parts. Everything just fit in properly. So getting to this, where is it? Reinforced stainless steel part. Getting to the final part that I installed, which is this here. This is the original Tokyo Marui one. Okay, I'm told I wasn't told, I read online that people say this part breaks easily, well, not easily, after a lot of wear and tear. This part can go and need replacing. So rather than waiting for mine to break, what I did was upgraded it straight away. and I upgraded it to this, which is this is made by SAT, also Soldat Airsoft Taiwan, and they made this part reinforced out of stainless steel. Okay, it's they say it's part number 870T36. Okay, this part did need modification. This is actually a new one that I have. The one that I modified is actually installed into the gun, but this one is how it came. This is a brand new one that comes out of the packaging, just so that I can show you which parts I modified. Now if I put these together, if I put the SAT version on the bottom and the Tokyo Marui version, the original part, on top, like so, you should be able to see that the SAT version sticks out just a little bit. Can you see that? There. Okay. Now that part needs grinding down, okay, because it's what it's going to do if you install it just like that. I think it goes in around here on the inside. When this arm here, the original Tokyo Marui part, this arm here goes back. It was actually grinding very violently against the conflicting part, the part that was sticking out too much. That's this part here. So I needed to take that down. I just used the Dremel and took it down until it was about exactly the same as the original part. Now, being made of stainless steel, this took a very long time, but I was very, very careful. I was very patient because where it's so thin, you can actually bend. It does bend and flex very easily, so keep an eye on that when you're upgrading it or modifying it. Okay, but once you take off that excess material and make it the same as the original, it will fit in perfectly and function flawlessly. Okay, and also it's now made of stainless steel, so it's going to be a lot more harder wearing, or it should last longer in theory. Okay, also the final part that I had to modify is this hole here. This hole on the SAT version, the stainless steel version, it was just too small. It was too tight in some areas. All I did was get a drill bit or a sanding bit on my Dremel, which was very similar to this, put it in and just widen it that way and that way ever so slightly, just a hair, and top and bottom as well, just a hair, and then it would fit onto its mounting point and screw in with no problems. But that's basically the only part I needed to modify, really. Nothing else needed work, so I'm very, very happy. SAT do make very good quality parts, and I'm really, really impressed by Wii Tech. They do just fantastic parts. The packaging's nice, you know, it's these little things that are gonna you know, appeal to me. Good packaging, packaged well, coated in silicone oil so it's protected. But if you are planning on upgrading in channels, I highly recommend the Wii Tech version. The loading arm is Wii Tech do the loading arm as well, but their version is aluminum, so I didn't go for that one. I went for the SAT version, which was actually made of steel. I'll see how that holds up. If there are any changes, I'll probably add it in the description, you know, if any problems I have. But so far, all of these parts, after being installed, work perfectly, flawlessly, and they're just so consistent. Everything functions perfectly. Okay. One of the parts that didn't need modifications but did need a little bit of attention was this part here, the SAT's steel reinforced loading arm. And I'll tell you why that is. After I installed all the parts and started racking it and testing the gun out, I noticed that after a while I would get a lot of aluminum or metal shavings that was building up here, and if you look very closely, see that little piece there, that that kind of little bit that lights up, well, that little piece there, that's actually the loading arm, this part here. Okay, this I believe it's in that orientation like that, this arm here, and all the metal filings were actually metal shavings that were coming off this part here, the Tokyo Marui, I don't know what it's called, the bar, that bar there. It was coming off from the inside because the SAT steel arm, this part here, was grinding against the inside of it. That led me to believe that the arm was too wide for the gun. But after taking it out, I actually noticed that on the SAT version of this, the arms can unscrew, and what they had done was, after racking the gun and playing around with it for a couple of times, the arm had unscrewed itself and started to work its way outwards that way, so it would be slightly wider. That put extra pressure on the arm, and obviously since this was made of steel and this is made of a much softer metal, this would be grinding against it, or work its way kind of inside. If it just stays in one place, it was kind of moving about a little bit and filing away metal chippings, and they ended up in there. So what I did was I took everything apart, brought out the SAT loading arm. This is not the SAT one, this is the Tokyo Marui one, but I'm using it just as reference. I then screwed them together really tightly after I put some Loctite on the threads. I'll put a picture of the actual loading arm in the video here. Okay, so hopefully you saw that. That was the SAT arm. That was, you know, kind of worked itself out. My recommendation is to put some Loctite on it and really screw it together and hold it in tight so it can't work itself loose. Not really a modification, but just something to be aware of. Okay, right, I think that covers that part. Moving on. Right, I'll now talk about after installing all the parts and everything and putting it together. After I was testing the gun, I noticed that there were a few problems after I started chronoing them. These weren't actually problems, but I'll tell you what happened and what was going on. Okay, so first of all, I loaded up 3 BBs and then I loaded up 30 BBs into the shot shell, and then loaded it up with some duster gas, and then shot away. And the chronograph showed that it was shooting at 60 FPS was the reading I got. So I loaded another 3 BBs and then shot again, and it said 140, and then shot again, and then it said 60. Okay, so then I thought, right, that's a really big problem. And then I remembered that the gun actually shoots 3 BBs at a time, which means there's 3 barrels. Now, to pinpoint what the problem was, what I did was I loaded 1 BB into the top barrel and shot that, and it said it was shooting at 140 FPS. I then proceeded to load 1 BB into this barrel here, this inner barrel, well, the inner barrel that normally goes in that section, and it was shooting at 60 FPS. I then loaded another BB into this section, and it was shooting about 58. I can't remember if it was 58 or 60, but around there. Then I noticed that this was a consistent problem. It wasn't shooting randomly. It was shooting about 140 out the top barrel and about 50 to 60 FPS on the left and on the right barrel there. So I thought, right, it might be an air leak issue. So what I did was I took the whole gun apart, and bearing in mind, okay, this information isn't going to make sense to anyone who doesn't own the gun yet, because the barrels are very specific to this gun, and the hop-ups rubbers are non-adjustable, and they are specific to this gun also. What you have is basically the inner barrel, and normally what happens is the hop-up rubber of normal guns, let's say an AEG, just goes over the top of the barrel, and you have a rubber piece that goes down and makes a little bit of the hop-up rubber stick out. That acts as your hop-up, but on this, the barrel actually is not like that with a hole in it. It is actually like that, so it's half. Okay, it's half cut off, and the hop-up rubber is a ring of rubber on the back, but it's also just a half a rubber that rests on top. Okay, now after first having a look at the that setup, I thought, this is impossible. It's not going to air seal. It's just going to leak air everywhere and be horrible. And what that does is that half barrel, half hop-up setup kind of slots into one of the holes, one of the barrel holes of the hop-up chamber. And you do that with all 3, and that gives you basically it has a non-adjustable preset kind of hop-up. Now, if you do install them incorrectly, or if there is an air leak, then it will shoot a lower FPS than it should. The FPS it should be shooting on 134A gas, 134A gas, or duster gas should be about 300, almost dead on. I know that there was a serious issue with all of my barrels, and that's why I took it all apart. I took the 3 hop-up rubber sections and just lightly rubbed them with silicone oil, and also I cleaned everything and put them back together, which took absolutely ages to get it all back together in the gun, reassembled, and then installed them. And what happened was I was shooting about 300 out of the top barrel after chronoing singly by BBs, just placing them lightly in the barrel and letting them roll to the bottom. That was doing about 300, and then this barrel here was shooting a lot less, probably maybe about 150, maybe a little bit less, and this one was shooting about 200. So I took it all apart again, and then re-lubed everything, cleaned everything again and re-lubed those, put them all back together, and then shot again. And then I was shooting at exactly, using duster gas, exactly 300 FPS. It was reading 300, 302, 300, 301 out of that barrel, out of that barrel, and out of that barrel. And that's when I knew all of the seals were correct on the hop-up rubbers. So that was one of the things that, you know, I did panic a little after I installed it, bearing in mind I'm pretty new to this this platform and all of the internal parts. You know, I was baffled actually at how insanely complex most of the parts were for me. But I'm not an expert at any of this. I literally just take it apart and see what it is, and see what I can make of it, and try and modify or change parts over to reinforce parts, and hopefully it works. If it does, then great. If it doesn't, then I problem solve. I don't actually know how every single aspect of each platform works. I just kind of work on the problem areas if I get problems. Okay, but the online guides and the disassembly videos on YouTube were really helpful. There's a few people that have done disassembly guides for this, and for anyone out there who has ever done a disassembly or modification guide or an explanation video of this Tokyo Marui M870 Tactical, thank you very much. I've watched them, most of them, almost all of them, and they were all very helpful. Okay, so if anyone, all of you guys that have made these videos, thank you very much for sharing this information. It really helped with this build. You know, and I believe it's going to help so many more people out there as well. So what you're doing is a fantastic thing. Okay, so that was the problem with the air leak issue. Also, when you take your gun apart and starting from whichever end you start at, taking it all apart, all the internal gas seal sections, the amount of O-rings there are, and the size of the O-rings, they're like, wow, wafer thin. I've never seen an O-ring so thin before. They were big and really thin, and very odd sizes. And when I first took it apart, there were parts like the I don't know, the cylinder, I guess it's called. You know, it's kind of like that, like a tube. If you imagine picture a toilet roll, and if you just get another toilet roll that is slightly smaller than it, and just put a wafer thin O-ring around the top of it, and say slide that onto slide one of them on top of the other, and that will form an air seal. You know, if you think about it, you think, no way, that's gonna leak. You know, that's definitely gonna leak. How could they design it in this way? They should have, I don't know, really sealed that off. They should have made it a single piece, to be honest. That's what I was thinking when I was taking it apart. But after installing everything, and even though the parts would just slide on like very loosely like that, it formed a perfect air seal. So I guess the design works, even though there are O-rings like there, and then countless O-rings after each other, and then parts that fit together, not snugly, but pretty loosely, that form great air seals. You know, it's a pretty good design, in my opinion, pretty complex. Also bearing in mind the screws. If I was designing something like this is just me though, I'd probably use the same size screw and the same head screw for every part. But as I was taking it apart, I noticed that almost every screw was different. They were either different lengths or different threads, and also the you needed a different screwdriver as well. One of them was like the that weird star-shaped head. Two of them were, and that was you know, you need quite a lot of tools of the right size, varying sizes, to take this apart. So that was really baffling for me as well. I was quite worried at one point when I was taking it apart. But it worked out fine. Everything worked out perfectly. One of the bonuses was the fantastic companies Wii Tech and SAT, Soldat, Airsoft Taiwan, just make great parts that pretty much just go in and don't need much modifications. That's one of the really, really good things I can say about this build. You know, if you're thinking about upgrading this, then that's one of the things you can look forward to. Really, really good company support from different aftermarket companies. Okay. Also, what else happened? Oh, also, the after I got everything running correctly, it was running at 300 on Duster through all 3 barrels. The one of the gas magazines that fits into the stock started leaking. It didn't leak as I was holding it. I just put it in, and then I could kind of hear it out the front. As soon as I inserted it, you could just hear gas coming out from somewhere around this area. And then I was thinking, I've probably got an air leak now. So I immediately ejected the magazine, spent all the gas out, and then put a little bit of silicone oil on the outlet valve of the gas tank and the inlet valve as well. And then I re-gassed it very slightly with some Duster gas, put it back in, and then it was fine. There would be no leaks. I could hear no leaks at all, and it was almost airtight throughout the gun and through all the way to the gas tank. I believe it was leaking because I may have overgassed it. I may have just held the gas tank on top of it too long, and the gas canister, and was just filling and filling and filling, and I probably just overfilled it on. It was a pretty warm day as well, but I've not experienced that since. I only gassed mine up to about 10 seconds, 11 seconds now, my gas tanks, and they've been fine. So that may be a problem. I'm not too sure. I can't be sure of it because I can't replicate it, and I really don't want to overflow the gas tank with gas. But that's one of the things I experienced once, okay, but that's since gone away, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so that's pretty much all of the modified parts I had to do. Right, okay, I think we'll get down to a chrono test now. Oh, very quickly, one last thing before I move on to the chrono test. The hammer spring has actually been stiffened. I added a spacer right at the end before inserting the hammer spring on. I actually put a little metal spacer which brings it out about 2mm. What that does is just adds a bit of tension and makes the spring act slightly stiffer than normal. I did that because my after installing the steel hammer, it was slightly, I think it's slightly heavier than the original hammer, so having a stiffer spring, in theory, I think it might help it function and not lag behind, if you get what I mean. Okay, that's one of the things I did. Okay, moving on. Right, I'm now going to chrono the gun. For this test, I'm going to be using 2 of the gas tanks, one of them which is loaded with Duster gas, or 134A gas, and another gas tank which is loaded with green gas. Okay. For this test, I'm also going to be using the Tokyo Marui 0.2 gram BBs, which perfect hit BBs. The ambient room temperature is 21 degrees Celsius, which is about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, for those of you that don't own the gun, I'm going to show you how you load BBs in there. Basically, you open the door by pushing this button down like so, taking out your shot shell, which is loaded with 30 BBs, put it in there, close the door, take off the rear butt pad, which is this part here. You basically squeeze down on this part here and that comes off. And I'll be chronoing Duster gas first. Okay, it goes in like so, and then you just push it in quickly. Okay, right, I'm wearing eye protection, so don't worry. That's 294. 304, 305, 298.9, and 296.8. Okay, I'm going to eject the gas magazine, which is loaded with duster gas, and insert the gas magazine that is loaded with green gas. Goes in like that, and you push it in quickly. Okay. .356, 366, 360, and I'm sure that's a misread. Okay, right, that's the testing done. I was actually so worried about that misread that I just spent the past half an hour testing the gas mags and the each barrel again and again using .2 BBs. I was very worried that I'd lost the air seal on one of the barrels, but it's fine, it was a misread. Okay, you know how it is. I kind of obsess over when something doesn't work properly. I just have to keep testing and testing and make sure it's working perfectly before I can wrap everything up. Kind of OCD in that aspect, but anyway, everything's fine. Yep, it was a misread, as I said. Okay, final thoughts of the gun. I don't know if you heard during the testing, but the it makes a twang noise now. I think this was due to, it may be due to the upgrades that I've done, but I don't know. I'll just show you here. You hear that twang at the end? I'm pretty sure it didn't do that before, so it's it may be to it may be from the upgrades, but I'm not too sure. And to be honest, I'm a little bit burnt out from taking it apart and putting it back together so much, so I'll probably just leave it. I mean, it won't bother me very much. It may bother you guys though if it does that after the certain upgrades, but you can, if you have more patience than me, you could probably you know, experiment and find out what that is. Or if you do find out what it is, maybe let me know, and I'll probably you know, if you guys find out and let me know, I could probably do something to stop it. Okay, so final thoughts of the gun. This is obviously just my opinion, so you know, don't take it as the final answer to everything. This is only my opinion. I believe this gun runs perfectly in standard form, and it's incredibly reliable. You don't have to do all these upgrades and buy all these parts. I mean, if you want to, by all means do it. It's fine. It makes it it reinforces parts, so in theory it should make the gun last longer, or it may never break. If I can say that. I know that nothing never breaks, but it'll be a lot more reliable than standard form. But in standard form it is incredibly reliable. So in my opinion, if I was to get another one of these, which I may do soon in the future, I'll probably leave it in stock form, and if I'm able to find a place that stocks standard Tokyo Marui spares, then I'll probably just switch out the parts that have broken or worn out or need replacing over time, and do it that way, because for a start it's going to be incredibly so much more cheaper, and also it's still going to be reliable and function just as it did. Okay, so this gun is fantastic. You know, if you're thinking about an airsoft shotgun and wondering, you know, oh, I hear they leak here, I hear they leak there. One of the problems that I did hear, but I'm not going to test myself, is that if you put green gas in these and leave them for too long, I don't know how long too long is, maybe overnight, then they do expand at the back, and that will create a problem and make them not fit in the stock. That's what I heard anyway. I also hear that if you use green gas, it will leak out one of these, one of the areas in here, or break one of the seals, or just leak out due to the pressure. I do use green gas. Obviously, I don't leave it in there overnight. I just kind of fill it up and use it, and I've been fine so far. I've done that quite a few times. So, not all the time, but I have done it quite a few times. But I do run mostly just duster gas in mine. Okay, so I can't attest to whether green gas expands these mags. I'm sure if it has happened to someone, it's not going to be a one-off thing. If it's happened before and people are reporting the same thing, more than likely it's an issue. So don't leave green gas in these overnight, or propane if you use that. Okay, but I'm sticking with duster gas in mine. I'm pretty happy with it shooting at 300 FPS. Obviously, bear in mind every time you reload a shot shell of a whole new 30 BBs, you're not changing this. Okay, so this is cooling down. You're shooting and shooting and shooting, and you've still got gas in this, but it's cooled down. Bear in mind, if you started off at 300 FPS, by the time you get to your second shot shell or your third shot shell, I believe you may be shooting at probably 250, maybe 260 FPS. Obviously, depending on temperature. If you are in a really hot country and a hot climate, it will probably be doing slightly better. It will probably shoot starting off at 320 FPS and then work its way down to 290 or somewhere along those lines. Okay, so if you're in Europe, you may want to use green gas or propane, and it should be fine due to the cooler climate and the fact that it won't expand and be too high in pressure. Okay. But that's my final thoughts. You know, if you want a shotgun, this is the one you want. It's fantastic. Or I believe Tokyo Marui have released the shorter version, the breacher version. That looks very nice as well. You might want to consider that. But you know, this this a fantastic shotgun. I've never had so much fun ever. This is probably the funnest gun I've ever shot, actually, airsoft gun. And had a lot of fun upgrading it as well, although a little bit more complex than the platforms I'm used to. It was a lot of fun and very rewarding at the end. Okay, especially the free shot mode. Oh yes, that's one of the things I didn't touch down on. Free shot mode and 6-shot mode. Believe it or not, I've never ever shot 6-shot mode. I've never shot 6 BBs before, so I don't know if it feeds well on 6-shot mode. I don't know what FPS you're getting. I've just stuck to 3-shot mode and that's it. I'm probably never going to use 6-shot mode. That's just me, you know, but someone else has probably done a video on 6-shot mode, so you can probably go check that out. But I'm sticking with 3-shot, and I don't plan on shooting 6-shot mode ever. Okay, but that's my final thoughts on it. You know, thank you very much for checking out this video. Hoped it helped someone out there. But you know, if you did like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will appreciate it very much. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.